Hey guys, and welcome to the 63rd episode of the Junkie podcast. I think that's right, 63rd. No, it's the 64th. So, welcome to all new and returning viewers. Thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your day to sit and chat about all the yarny things with me. I've been working on quite a few things, and so I'm just going to jump right in and show you guys. My name is Amber. I'm coming to you from Texas, where I live with my husband, our 2 daughters, and our 3 dogs that I've put up. So Lucy will not be making an appearance on this episode. I am also currently 28 weeks pregnant with our 3rd daughter. So we're getting really excited about her impending arrival and yeah, all the things that there are to get ready for adding a new baby. But I have officially finished my Blue Sands cardigan, and this was made with a Madeline Tosh ombre kit, and I don't know the colorway names because they don't list them on there when they have a kit like that, but it's just blacks and grays. And I was playing yarn chicken on the blacks. I think I showed you guys that last time, but I did. So I didn't do as many of the repeats on the collar as the pattern said. Other than that, I followed the pattern pretty exact. I did size down my needle because I'm a little bit of a loose knitter and I just like the gauge I was getting with it with a smaller needle. It grew a ton. I'm happy about the amount the sleeves grew, but the whole cardigan, there's my 28-week baby belly. The whole cardigan is pretty long now, and I have a black skirt on, so, oh, you can see it good. So here's the bottom of my butt, and I was hoping that's about where it would end, but you can see it goes down quite a bit further than that. And now the pockets are a little bit low. It's actually shrank a little bit back up since I washed it and blocked it, but overall I'm really happy with it. My husband thinks it's too big, but it's oversized. It's supposed to be like that. It's going to be a perfect fall jacket for if and when it ever gets cold here in Texas. It's October 6th, I think, and we're still in the high 80s here, and it'll probably be like that through Thanksgiving, honestly. It's usually not a cold climate place, but we do get cold weather. I mean, we can get snow on the ground, contrary to popular belief. It does snow here. It does get in the 30 degrees Fahrenheit range, but just not for very long. It's like a day or two. So I'm really happy overall with this. It was crazy fast for me. I knit this in about 2 months, which is insane because I'm usually not very monogamous, and I got this done really quickly. I'm very happy with it. I love that I put the gold in the pockets. And that's all I have really to say about it. It's super soft, Madeline Tosh DK twist. I love it. It's going to be a staple in my wardrobe for many years to come, I'm sure. I've also got a few finished sock whips. So I think I showed you my Lake Life socks last time. I said last week the last episode, that I might give these to my husband, but I really think I'm going to keep them for me. They are a little bit big on me, but not that much, and they're a little bit snug on him. And I would rather wear them too big than him wear them out too fast because they're too tight, if that makes sense. But this is the Nomadic Yarns self-striping colorway in Lake Life, and I knit a tube, and then I did an afterthought heel, which I think I'm a convert. I love afterthought heels. The only thing that I don't really love about them is the fact that you feel like you're going on forever knitting the tube, and there's no breakup of doing like the heel. So I really love them. I knit these top down on a 9-inch circ, and once I got to the toe, I switched to Magic Loop or DPNs. I can't remember. I'm not very monogamous on my sock knitting when it comes to one certain way or one certain needle that I use. It's always a size 1 or a 2.25 millimeter, but I Sometimes I feel like magic loops, sometimes I feel like DPNs, sometimes I feel like 9-inch circs, and I have all of those. So, and often I'll switch between the 3 of those on the same sock project because I get bored. But those are done. I love them. They're going to be going in my box of socks that I'm sorely behind on, but that's okay. Another pair of, it's Socktober, so I dug out all my old sock whips, and there was a lot, and it's ridiculous, and I'm trying to get them all finished up because I want to cast on new socks for fall. So I finished up my Mercury socks. These I cast on in March, back when everyone was knitting the Mercury socks at the beginning of the year. This yarn is Succulents by Vine, and it is on her footsie base, I think is what she calls it. I don't have the ball band with me. It's the BFL nylon base. I enjoyed the pattern overall, but I don't know why I let these hibernate for so long. I had one done really quickly, and then the second one just took me a really long time. And I haven't washed these, so they're not sitting on my blocker very well, but they do fit my feet nicely, and I'm happy to have them done. So March socks to go in the box of socks. Another finished project that I have, it's kind of a cheat because it's really small, but I know a lot of podcasters are hosting the Box of Ornaments Cal. The Naughty Knitwits, Michelle and Leslie, are doing, I think, a Stuff It along, a year-long, just make stuffies. I don't think they necessarily have to be ornaments, but if you stuff your ornament, then it counts. And then Maker's Haven, Amber, and Molly of a Homespun House are doing a year-long knit-along for ornaments. And I'm, again, sorely behind on that. I did really well with January, February, and March. I crocheted or knit ornaments for each of those months, and then I didn't do any for the rest of summer, spring and summer. But then I saw this during the solar eclipse on Ravelry, and I knew I had to make it. This is a free pattern, and I do have a project page up on this, so you can just go to my Ravelry, which is Yarn Junkie with the number 6, and you'll see my project page. I think it's called the Amigurumi Solar Eclipse. It did not take me any time at all to crochet this up. You just do 2 little circles for the moon, front and back, 2 little circles for the sun, and then you attach them by doing the orange around, and then sew them, just whip stitch them together, and you put the eyes on before you stuff them and crochet them together, obviously. It actually took me longer to cake this orange yarn up. These 2, the gray and the gold, are Madeline Tosh DK Twist, which is leftovers from my sweater, and then the orange is actually a sport weight, but still Madeline Tosh in colorway Citrus. And the eyes are just safety eyes from Hobby Lobby. But, so it took me longer to cake this yarn up than it did to crochet this entire ornament. And my back on the sun isn't great because I got sloppy with sewing them up. And I didn't do embroidered faces. I started to on the moon, and my embroidery leaves something to be desired, so I ripped it out. And my girls love this, and they say it looks fine without the faces. But there's my solar eclipse, and that's about the amount that we got an eclipse in Texas. So it was like 15% or something. It was ridiculous. I love it, and that will go on my tree for my August ornament. So those are all my finished objects. I do have quite a bit of whips that I want to get through and some acquisitions. I went on a bender, you guys. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm not going to Rhinebeck. I was feeling sorry for myself. I had to do the gestational diabetes test, which was a total pain, and then they made me go back for the 3-hour because my numbers were elevated, which just means that they were not right on track. But with my 3-hour, I was completely normal, so everything's fine with the baby. I do not have diabetes. I didn't think I did, but you know, doctors. So I went on a bender because of all the stress of everything, and I'm not going to Rhinebeck, like I said. But this whip, again, is another languishing sock whip. These were Atrella's back-to-school socks. I finished up Prudence's a couple weeks ago, but I still hadn't finished Atrilla's. This yarn is the Fleechy Knit Picks in colorway Chickadee. And I just did a slip stitch pattern on every color change. I would knit 3, slip 1 for 2 rows. So it has that little like drop stitch effect. She really likes these. And I like how they look kind of Aztec or Southwestern, especially with those colors. And I really should have finished these this morning, but I was busy knitting on something else. I'm at the toe. These will be done today, and I will weave in the ends and all of that, but she loves them. She did want the cuffs to be a bit shorter, the legs. She didn't want them to be ankle sock short, but she didn't want them to be full legs either. She says with full legs, they slide down, and with ankle socks, they slide off. So she likes just kind of a mid leg. And I did a Fish Lips Kiss Heel on both of these. That's all there is to say. I did most of these on Magic Loop, I think. I think I started out with DPNs and then I switched to Magic Loop. But that's almost done. Not quite. And then my next whip, I'm flying through this really fast because I just am. But I am not going to Rhinebeck, as I just said. Woe is me. And so I decided I needed a not going to Rhinebeck sweater. I have been wanting to cast on the Timber Cardigan, which is by Shannon, so very Shannon. I don't always print out all the pages. Sorry for fumbling through this. To the pattern, you'll know who it's by. It was in the Within book. A lot of people are talking about this pattern right now. I don't have the designer's name on here. Sorry. Here's the cardigan I mentioned. And I have a lot of sweater quantities worth of yarn in my stash, but I really wanted to use Shelter for this. That's what the sample's knit in. And I really love how that collar stands up. I just love the look of this cardigan, and I really wanted to knit with Shelter. I've knit with Shelter before. I'm actually going to go grab that project right quick. I'll be right back. So here's my previous project with Shelter. This was the Farmhouse Shawl, and I knit it in the colorway Long John, and I loved knitting this. I think I knit it back in 2015. It's a very nice cozy shawl. This is probably my most worn shawl out of all of the ones that I've knit. I love it. Love the fringe too. But my husband and daughters just don't appreciate Shelter like I do. They find it too rustic, too scratchy, which is ridiculous to me because once you wash it, it softens up considerably. No, it's not merino, but this smells like campfire because I think I wore it last camping. No, it's not merino, but it is definitely soft. I don't find it scratchy at all, and I don't have sensitive skin, but I'm bothered by itchy things. So I really wanted to knit with Shelter again. I love the rustic feel of the yarn, and I cast on for this and got pretty far. So I originally cast on with a 7. It tells you to knit with an 8, but I felt like that would be way too loosey-goosey for me. And so I cast on with a 7 and knit the whole collar, the 4-inch twisted rib on the collar, and hated it. I hated how loose it was. So I ripped it out and restarted it on 6s. And then I got all of this knit. So I think this is three balls on the body, or 3 skeins, and then I started with another one on the sleeve because I was getting freaked out about yarn chicken. I got the yardage the pattern said, which was 840 yards for my size, so I only needed 6 skeins of the Shelter. But I guess because I was knitting at such a tighter gauge, I was really worried about running out of yarn. It's got the twisted rib stitch on down the arms. Along the collar, you're knitting the button band as you go, which I have not done that construction before. It's a simple raglan, but I really love knitting the ribbing as you go, because then once you're done, other than the sleeves, of course. And then, of course, once I got about here, I started reading project pattern notes and how This fits small. And I will go ahead and slip it on, but it's really tight on me. So I kept thinking, oh, it will block out, it will block out. I'm a bigger size than I am normally because I'm 28 weeks pregnant. I've gained 35 pounds so far. It's on par for me. I gain a lot because I am very thin to begin with. So I tried it on, and at the sleeve separations the first time I tried it on, and I was like, oh, it fits fine. And then once I knit this half of the body and more of the sleeve, I was like, this is really tight. And I don't think it's going to block out as much as I want it to based on how much my shawl blocked out. So I am frogging this whole thing and restarting. I really do love it, but I want a cardigan that's not oversized, but not skin tight either. And so I can't even, like if I were to wear a shirt under this, I wouldn't even be able to get my sleeve in there. And so this will be frogged. I did try it on my 11-year-old and it fits her great, but she made this nasty face because, again, it's shelter yarn and she's a bit of a yarn snob. I'm tangled up here now that I tried that on. She's a bit of a yarn snob and did not appreciate the feel of the yarn at all. Sorry, I have a yarn situation here. It's all tangled around me. There. But so this was about a week's worth of work. No, I did not do a gauge swatch. Bad knitter I am, but I usually don't, and it works out fine. So I wasn't that concerned, and I'm really not that sad about it because I love working with this yarn so much. I went ahead and cast on again. This time I am doing a size 8. I just decided to go with what the pattern said. It does seem a bit loose to me, but I knit continental, and so the ribbing is always a bit loose, and I'm hoping the body isn't going to be that loose. But I really love this color. It's Shelter in colorway Plume. I really love it. Shelter, Targhee wool, and the colorway is Plume. So, yes, I did have another tragedy about this yarn. So I had this extra skein I had caked up, ready to go because, like I said, I bought 6 skeins because that's how many I needed to do the pattern. I knit almost 4 into the cardigan before I realized I needed to rip it out. Went ahead and caked up my 5th cake, and I left it on the end table next to the couch. We live pretty rural. I think I've mentioned this a time or two, and we have rodent issues like crazy. We have rat snakes, we have rats. That's just part of living in the country. So I've been hearing this rat. I've seen it a few times in the middle of the night. We've set poison around the house in those large bait boxes so the dogs can't get at it. We have set live traps in the house. We have set snap traps in the house, and this is just one smart cookie. He has stolen a bunch of stuff, has ended up missing, and I hear him at night getting dog food and stuff, so I've started putting that up. He crawled up onto the end table and got my yarn and took it over to his little hidey hole house. He couldn't fit this through the hole, and so he just tore pieces off of it and took off with him for his bed. Of my shelter, y'all. Are you freaking kidding me right now? This story does have a happy ending because last night I finally caught him in the trap. I put some really quality cheese in the live trap, and my husband hauled him off. Hopefully far enough that he doesn't come back, but we'll see. I'm not convinced that it was far enough after reading about pack rats. That's the kind of rat that was living under our house, terrorizing me as I tried to sleep and eating my yarn. I am very upset. But it does have a happy story because my yarn shop did have 2 more skeins, so I got one to replace that and then an extra just so I'm not playing as much yarn chicken. And so I got to go to knit night last night and replace some yarn until my horror story of Mr. Ratty. They all laughed, of course. Shame on you. I know a couple of my Knit Night buddies do watch the podcast, which I'm like, I'm sorry. Why? No. Thank you so much for watching. You know who you are. I'm not going to go through everyone's names because I'm sure I'm going to leave someone out and feel bad. But you're awesome, and I'm happy that we get to spend time together, and then, you know, I get to chat with you when you're at work or doing whatever it is you do during the day. So again, I say I went on a bender. I bought all this shelter yarn for that sweater. And then I also, Naughty Knitwits podcast, Michelle is a total bag enabler because she was talking about this kitchen clutter bags. You can find her on Etsy and on Instagram. Had these wax canvas bags that were lined with flannel. And I went and followed her immediately on Instagram, and then a few days after that, she posted that she had popped some of these bags in the shop, and I went and bought one immediately. I think I bought this on, it was either Sunday night or Monday morning, not real sure, but I got it Thursday afternoon in the mail. Perfect timing, and I really love it. This will definitely be my camping bag. It's very rustic, and I'm not worried about like it getting scuffed or torn up or dirty because it's that wax canvas that's going to repel almost anything. And I have some yarn in here to start my husband a hat. I've actually started it twice and messed up and ripped out, so we'll start that soon. Another thing that I got was this Jinx yarn. So I really love Jinx yarn. I really love that she's local to me. And by local, I mean she's 2 hours from me. Dallas is my hometown. It's where I grew up. And that's where Laura lives, the dyer behind Jinx Yarn. And so I'd been wanting this particular colorway since someone knitted up either last year or the year before that with pink, contrasting pink heels and toes. And I'd been wanting it since then. This is her gingerbread house colorway. And I have a bunch of her yarn, like I have the Naughty or Nice that I knit for Christmas in July. I still have Christmas lights in the stash that I'll probably knit this Christmas. I have some of her Halloween yarn. I really like her yarn bases, and the way she does self-striping is on my love list. So, and she got new labels, which I really like that simplicity of that label. But I had to get this. I set an alarm and then stalked her shop and scored. And these sell out, like everyone wants this colorway. So these sell out in like 2 minutes, like a minute. And for me to get it is a big deal. So I was really excited to be able to get the yarn that I was after for stocking because yay. I also got this mini when I picked up those 2 shelters last night. West 7th Wool just got in a big shipment of hedgehog fibers, and I wanted all of the minis, but I just settled for graphite. I do have a plan for this. Maybe I'll work on it and show you guys next time, but we'll see. And then, last but not least, Mina of the Knitting Expat has totally enabled me to knit her Chevron baby blanket. She made one for Layla in like rainbow colors. I'm sure you know who Mina is, so I'm not going to go on about that for very much. But she has a podcast and she's on Ravelry, and she's a very famous knitwear designer. And she made Layla a blanket with rainbow colors. And then she just recently found out she's expecting, I think, a nephew at Christmas time. Her sister-in-law is pregnant. And so she made the baby a Christmas blanket. And that happens to be when I'm due as well at Christmas time. And I loved the yarn that Mina used. I loved the way it looked. And I decided I'm definitely going to cast that on. So I went on Knit Picks and I got the exact same kit that she did, which is different stroll tweed fingering yarns. And then she held them double and knit them on a size 10, which I've never knit anything on this gauge before. It's a 6mm needle. Look how big this is. It's huge. It feels so weird to switch between knitting socks and knitting with these like drumsticks. These are my Alika needles. I love my interchangeable set of needles that a friend gifted me. And this is how far I am so far. So I've done the first color repeat, and then you switch to the second color, which the first color, I don't remember the name of it. I'm terrible about my ball bands. I'll take them out to weigh the yarn that I have left, and then I just don't put them back in. If you go to Knit Picks, they have the kit. It's like the Christmas kit, and you can see all the colorway names. I think this one's Firecracker. And then the next after Firecracker will be Oyster Heather. And then the greens, it will be Forest Heather. And then Sequona Heather. So it will go like this. If you are curious to see the finished thing, just go to Mina's page, because I'm copying her exactly. And then she even knit her nephew a little sweater and a hat to match, because she had so much yarn left over, and I'm going to do the exact same thing. There's no shame in my game. She inspired me. I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. So that's what other knitters are here for, right? To inspire you and to get your juices flowing, your creative juices. So that is that project. It is quite an enjoyable, mindless knit that I just, when I don't really feel like working on anything else, I can do a couple of rows on this. And I've never knit a Chevron blanket before. I've crocheted some for like other friends who have had babies, but I've never knit one. This one that's on the back of the couch was actually made by my grandmother before I was even born. My aunt gifted it to me after my grandmother passed away. She was donating a bunch of stuff that she didn't need anymore, and she knew that I crafted and asked me if I might want the blanket. So my grandmother made this, not me. And then what do you do when you're ordering from Knit Picks but get more Felici regardless of how much you have in the stash? I was really good, and I only got these two for myself or my husband. I'm not sure. It's the steamer trunk colorway. I do wish that I would have ordered more, but then they also had a sale like 2 days after I ordered this. Felici went on sale for $3 instead of $5 a skein, and I was a bit upset and irritated. But I didn't order any more because I really don't need any more sock yarn. And that's all I've been working on, y'all. I did work on a Trellis pullover a little bit last night at midnight. I guess I can show you that because I really hope to have it finished. It's October 6th right now, and I really need to get this beautiful pullover finished before her birthday at the end of November. So I'll show you where I'm at right now so you guys hold me accountable. That's where I am. It's going to be so gorgeous on her. I really like the yarn colors. It's Texas yarn that I'm using. So the blue is Twisted Owl Fibers, Fiber Studio, and colorway Pirate Ship. And the gray is Yarn Carnival and Big Bad Wolf. So both of those came from my LYS, which is West 7th Wool. And I don't know that I mentioned this, but they just started a podcast. Amy and Hunter, the owners and adorable married couple behind West 7th Wool, have recently started a podcast. So you should definitely go check it out and see what they're up to. Also, my friend Michelle of A Hopeful Holler Makes. She is on Instagram as A Hopeful Holler and then started a podcast under Hopeful Holler Makes. Definitely go check her out. I've had a few other people contact me about their podcast that they've started, and I've subscribed, but I haven't had a chance to watch all of them just with life, and I'm going to get watching those, and so I can also steer you to their podcast. So thanks so much for reaching out to tell me that, you've been watching my podcast or that I inspired you to start your own. That's so awesome, and I love watching knitting and talking about yarn. So I think that's it. The girls Atrella went to camp, like sleepaway camp, which she's never been away from family ever overnight. So she's 11, and it was a lot of fun for her. She did that a week ago, and it rained like that whole entire week. I felt bad for her, but she still had a great time. And it wasn't too far away. Like I said, we live rural, so we're really lucky that her camp was literally 10 miles, 15 miles down the road. It's actually closer than her school is. So Prudence was an only child for about a week, and she did not know what to do with her life. Prudence is my littlest, technically now my middle, and she just missed her sister like crazy, and she was like, I don't want to live in a house without my sister. This is so boring. I'm so sad. And we did lots of crafts. We painted our nails. I mean, I kept her busy, but I wasn't a good substitute to her sister. She really loves her sister. We still don't have a name picked for the baby. My husband is coming up with more and more strange and bizarre suggestions. He's really conservative until it comes to like naming a child. And then I'm just like looking at him like he has 3 heads because of the names he comes up with. So no name for the baby. I have had friends request and offer to knit for the baby and request my address so they could ship things. Thank you so much, guys. I've had a few knitty friends at knit night knit for the baby, and just that y'all want to knit for my baby makes me so happy. And I've been knitting a little bit for her and setting stuff aside for plans to knit for her. But if you are interested in knitting for anybody's baby, I know a lot of times people can be critical of their makes. I was watching the Hey Sister podcast, and I think they were gifting some stuff to one of their friends, and Rachel was pointing out like errors. Don't do that, okay? Like anytime I've ever given anything at a baby shower, it was the most praised thing because it's handmade and it was made with love, and people appreciate that more than makers want to realize. Like my gifts were always the highlight of the baby shower, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's just handmade items are really appreciated all around, no matter your skill level or if you feel like it's as quality as a store-bought item. Like a lot of times it's better. So you make that thing for your friend or your cousin or whoever you're making for. You make it and you be proud that you made it. Errors and all, because chances are the person receiving it won't even notice, especially being sleep deprived. I've reached the 3rd trimester officially, and I've not been sleeping very well at all. And I'm just like, I just want to sleep. I just want to be comfortable. I'm not trying to complain. I know a lot of ladies that can't get pregnant and would love to be in my shoes. But it's hard. It's hard to grow another person, and it takes a lot out of you. And so I think I'm entitled a little bit to whine about my sleep deprivation that's only going to get worse because I have 11 more weeks to go. But that is all the show that I have for you guys today. I managed to get to that really fast. Sorry if it was super fast, but yeah, I just want to get all of this in one recording and get it up. So thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed watching and that you got some work on your project done. And I would love it if you come to show me in the group on Ravelry, Yarn Junkie podcast group, never mention that, what you've been working on, or tag me on Instagram, send me a message on Instagram. I love chatting with my viewers and seeing what y'all have been up to or what y'all are doing. So I am _Yarn Junkie on Instagram. I never say any of that. How terrible am I? Really bad. Okay, thanks guys. I'll see y'all next time.